Good morning to you on this beautiful Monday morning. Beautiful for several reasons. Perhaps the most shining reason is we got great news this weekend. Our bishop is going to let us resume public masses throughout the diocese on Wednesday morning. Okay, but that comes with provisions and restrictions. So I was going to lay those out for you just so that we know what that looks like at Sacred Heart. Our bishop kind of released a statement last night that what that looks like for the diocese, but us pastors have to come up with a plan for our parish that fits us. So this is ours at Sacred Heart. First of all, I will repeat what the bishop said. If you feel vulnerable at all, that this virus could affect you, that it could harm you, please, please, please stay at home. The obligation for Mass has not been put back in place, which means the dispensation is still there. You do not have to come to Mass on Sunday. So if you feel like you should stay home, or if you're being pushed in that direction, this is me telling you to stay home. I want to see your face just as much. Well, you may not want to see my face, but you certainly want to see Jesus' face, and you want to see the other people, but it's not worth it if you feel like you're going to get sick. So please stay home if you're vulnerable. Secondly, we are going to be restricted on space at Mass. That's just the bottom line way it is. Our church, by the time we would shrink down our church with all the social distancing guidelines, our church is almost unusable for Mass. So what does this look like? Daily Mass will be able to take place in the church. I believe that we'll have crowds that we can sustain in the church for daily Mass. However, weekend Masses will take place over in the hall. See, I'm pointing. This is the church. This is the hall. I don't know why I'm pointing like that. I swear I should be Italian. Vogelli. But we can only fit so many people in the church, so I don't think that's a good avenue for us to go right now with as strict as the guidelines are. So for a weekday Mass, social distancing in the church, this is where it will take place. Sunday is going to look like this. We'll have 3 weekend Masses to start. If we need to, we'll be able to add another one in later. However, as of right now, we're going to go back to our old Mass schedule. So we're going to 5 o'clock Saturday evening Mass, 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. Sunday Masses. So 5 o'clock Saturday, 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. on Sunday. Okay? The hall will only be able to hold so many people. Right? We're looking at it, and we're probably going to be able to average maybe 125 people. The rules look like this. We have to maintain 6 feet apart. Each person has to be 6 feet apart from the next person, with the exception, okay, and this might be our saving grace, with the exception that families can sit together. So if you have a family or a framily, meaning friends and family that are okay being close to each other in that social setting, please do so. That will allow us to fit more people into the hall, certainly at a safe distance. So groups have to be safely distant from each other, or a group has to be safely distant from an individual. But please do that for the sake of yourself and for the sake of others, so that we can try to fit more people into the Mass setting itself. Okay? Hand sanitizer will be used by Eucharistic ministers and by Father. What's going to be very important is when you receive the Eucharist on the hand, please have one hand under the other and make a delivery space for Father. This has never been more important because Father has to, and the Eucharistic ministers have to essentially drop Jesus into your hand. So we're not making contact with every person, because every contact we make, we have to come back and re-sanitize our hands. Father also made a little bit of a mistake this last time and ordered smaller hosts. So this could get a little tricky if we don't have a proper hand to put Jesus into. So please do one hand under the other and make a resting throne for Jesus so that we can drop him into your hand. We'll also be sanitizing the church at the end of the day on Sunday. We'll come through and make sure that it's all sanitized out. So we're going to do the best practices for keeping the place clean, keeping it sanitary. Here's the trick of it. We don't want to turn people away. I want you to be able to come up and experience Mass, and we could not possibly offer enough Masses to satisfy everyone with just that building. As I said, by the time we socially distance in the church or in the basement of the church, it's really not helpful for adding numbers to our group. So, what the plan is for now, and I know this is kind of a little bit ridiculous, but our plan for now is that we will hold as many people in the hall as possible. Okay? As soon as the hall fills up, we don't want you to just go turn around and go home. We will be live streaming Mass. So if you bring your mobile device, you'll be able to pull up this YouTube channel and watch us live stream as we're having Mass inside. So you can go back and sit in your car, watch us on live stream for the Mass, okay? And then come up and approach for the Eucharist. We'll have a Eucharistic minister at the door of the church, or at the door of the hall. Okay, so at the entrance door of the hall, we will have a Eucharistic minister there to distribute Eucharist to anyone who happens to be in the parking lot. Okay, we know this isn't ideal. And the bishop would prefer, he's told us that there should be no outdoor masses. Well, this is an indoor mass, right? With overflow outside because we really don't have a place for others. We also people have to be physically present on campus during the Eucharist and watching Mass or listening to Mass in some way, shape, or form in order to receive the Eucharist. We priests cannot distribute Eucharist outside of the Mass. So if you show up and the hall is full, we can't put anyone else in there, please either go to your car or you may stand right outside the building, socially distant from each other, and pay attention to Mass, watch Mass on your live stream device. Another thing that we'll have speakers outside. So if you can't live stream the Mass, we will have speakers playing the Mass, playing Father's voice throughout the Mass on those speakers. So you'll still be able to participate in Mass. I know this isn't ideal, guys, and I know it's going to be probably a rough first Sunday back as we're trying to navigate through this, but I think it is our best practice for being able to get as many people and allow for as many people to come back to Mass as possible. So please pray for your priest, pray for the bishop as we make these decisions and try to navigate all this. Pray for one another, but above all, please pray for patience. I have to do the same thing, and I pray for patience every single day, especially in all of this. But please do pray for patience, and please practice that virtue with one another and with your priest, your pastor, me, as we try to navigate these murky waters. God bless you and look forward to seeing you this weekend.